going to go ahead and get started. And this session will be recorded. So if anyone needs to drop early or send it to anyone else, I'll be sending out the recording at the end. So today we're going to be going through what a day in the life looks like in Microsoft's newest work management tool. Whether you're a project manager building out a schedule and assigning tasks, or a team member who is simply using the tool to manage their own assignments and projects. I also have on the call with me Stella Salome. She'll be doing the technical portion of our demo. Do you want to go ahead and say hi, Stella?
Hi, my name is Stella Salome. I'm a solutions architect here at Marquee 360.
Thanks. So a little bit about how we're going to do things today. I'll give you a little bit of background on Marquee 360, and then we'll talk about the new Microsoft Planner and a little bit about our Planner Accelerator. Stella will give the demo, and then we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. And although we'll do it at the end, please feel free at any time throughout the presentation to drop questions in the chat or even unmute and ask your question. We like a really interactive audience and want this to be as helpful as possible for you all, so feel free to ask any questions. Okay, so a little bit about Marquee 360. We are a Microsoft partner for project and portfolio management and also collaboration. And we work on the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform. So what that means is any of your apps like Planner, Teams, or anything Power Platform related, that's where we excel in giving you applications to help minimize all of your manual processes and help your team focus on the work that really matters to you. And to dive a little bit deeper, Marquee 360 was actually founded by former Microsoft employees. So we have a really seasoned team with over 20 years of experience within the Microsoft project space. So we've worked with everything from Project Server and Projects Online to the more recent Planner and Project for the Web. And what we do is we take the Microsoft suite and we enhance it. So we customize it to fit your specific needs, address any gaps or pain points, automate workflows to help you and your team grow and work more efficiently. So our core focus areas for success are innovation. We work side by side with the Microsoft technology team during their development process so that our customers get all of those updates quickly and that we keep up with technology that Microsoft is pushing out. Right now, a huge focus is on the Power Platform, and that's where Microsoft is putting a lot of their new technology and research. So that's just going to give you that low code, no code platform where you can take some of that development work into your own hands and give you some more power rather than having to rely on custom coding. We focus a lot on customer success. So we work very closely with your team during requirements gathering to make sure you're getting anything that you guys need to be successful. That includes post-implementation, hypercare, support, and trainings as well. And now we're going to go a little bit into Microsoft Planner, which is Microsoft's newest product offering. Microsoft is investing a lot of research and development work into optimizing the work management experience. So previously we had To-Do, Planner, and Project for the Web as all separate solutions. And To-Do, if you're not familiar with, you could just go in, you had your own tasks in one place. And then you had Planner, which was great for collaboration. You could look at some plans, some buckets. You had that Kanban board styling. And then Project for the Web was where you could go to do your assignments and some of those deeper project management features like task dependencies and things like that. But what Microsoft found is that it's hard for users to know which tool to use and why. And then upgrading from one tool to another, such as Planner to Project for the Web, was a little bit difficult. So what they did was they brought all those things together and they called it the new Microsoft Planner. So all of those things you could do before, you can still do today, but all in one place. So you're not having to jump from To-Do to Planner to Project for the Web. The new Planner unifies all of it, tasks, plans, and projects across the Microsoft ecosystem, and integrates with the tools your team already uses like Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, and Power BI. And now I'll discuss a little bit what our focus will be today, which is PPM 360, our accelerator for Microsoft Planner. PPM 360 really takes the planner experience a step further. The accelerator is going to combine tools like Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, and Project for the Web to deliver an end-to-end project solution. So while Planner is going to give you that basic task management, we enhance it with tools like an intake app, timesheets, budgets, and then we integrate with Teams for collaboration, automate it with Power Automate, and then create interactive reports within Power BI to give you a clear view of your projects. So everything we design is meant to work with Microsoft's Copilot updates and any new updates that they put out. And this will just show, yeah, some of those additional features that I mentioned that the accelerator can add to your Planner experience. So while Microsoft is constantly adding enhancements to Planner, if you're managing a large PMO or have a lot of projects, a lot of resources, we built this Power App called PPM 360 to extend Planner to be a little bit closer to what you're used to with maybe like Project Online, if you're familiar. So we have the ability to add all those additional features into the Planner platform. And I'll go ahead and pass it to Stella now for the demo.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Now let's start with how we access Planner. So there are two ways that we can utilize Planner, and that is going to be by adding the app into your Teams or by accessing the Planner or the Planner app itself. So here in the screen that I'm sharing, I have Teams. As you can see, I'm within Teams app here. To add Planner as a tab here, we would click on this ellipses where it says View More Apps, search for Planner, and then we go ahead and select on this to add it here. Once we add it, it will stay here. You just have to pin it. So as you can see here, I already have it pinned, so I don't want to unpin it. And then we can utilize it directly from Teams. So I can go from my chat to Planner and other areas directly within Teams. Another way to access the app would be by essentially, you can do this from Outlook, you can do this from OneNote, you can do this from Teams, anywhere where you're going to see this, what we call the waffle in the top left corner. You can click on this here. If you don't see it directly here, you can go to your apps, Microsoft 365. You can go install and more, explore your apps. You can go to all apps here, and then you can look for that Planner app. So right here is our Planner app. You can click on that and you can open it in a new tab. So for today's demonstration, so here's the Planner app. As you can see here, I have my day. So for today's demonstration, I'm going to be utilizing Planner directly within the app. Directly within Teams. So today's webinar is a day in the life of a project manager and team member. So let's start with my day. Today is my day. It is Thursday, February 6th, and I am starting from the My Day view here. And on this view, we're in the grid view here, and I can see all the tasks that have a due date today and the plans that they're associated with, as you can see here. Directly from my day, I can go ahead and manage the progress on these tasks. So I can say progress for this one is in progress, this one is completed, this one is in progress, and so on. And that's going to read back to the primary schedule. In my day, we also have a board view, as you can see here. So it's going to split up those tasks by bucket. So instead of from the grid view updating my progress via the column, I can actually simply drag and drop this one into the bucket that it's appropriate for. So if I want to update the kickoff to in progress, I can drag and drop this task into in progress. And when we go back to the grid view, we'll see that that has been marked in progress, as you can see here. I can then drop it into the completed bucket, and it's going to mark it completed for me on my grid view as well. So this view is intended for essentially team members to see their tasks that are due that day, the most critical tasks that are due that day that they need to focus on. Moving on, we have the My Tasks area where team members can see all the tasks that they're assigned across all plans, not just due today, but the due dates are indicated by the due date here. And we can see here the red highlighted means that that task is late. We can also see the plan that it's associated with, and we can edit these columns by making them shorter or longer as well. And we also have a nice little filter column here too. So I can say filter, I want to see all the ones that have a due date this week or next week, tomorrow, or I could say, just show me all my tasks that are late. So your team members can utilize this view and these filters to view their task assignments by priority. So essentially which ones are due today, tomorrow, and so on, to plan for those tasks to get them completed in time. And then also to update their progress directly from this area. Now let's touch on licensing for a little bit. We're going to see that team members are only going to need a Microsoft 365 license in order to manage, to see their tasks in My Day, My Tasks, and to manage their progress on tasks that they're assigned, which is great. Now, the next step of this demo, we are going to create a basic plan. And to create a basic plan, that is going to require a Plan 1 license. We will go into details on the basic plan of how it's created, and we'll also emphasize some areas of where there's features that are available there or not available in premium. And after that, we'll convert that to a premium plan, which does require a Plan 3 license. So from this My Tasks view, we'll also have the board, as you can see here. So we have not started, in progress, completed. Same concept as we have in My Day. I can drag and drop these to mark them as completed. I can group them by progress, due date, or priority. Priority is set by the project manager in the project schedule. And I also have filters as well too. As you can see here, I can group by plan. So now this is going to group by plan name. So it looks like I have a lot of tasks across a lot of different plans, as you can see here. I can manage the tasks from this view by simply selecting this little circle to mark it as completed. Or I can click on the task to open it and change the progress to in progress. We also can see some information about these tasks, such as this one here has a attachment. We can see the name of the attachment, and I can actually click on this to open it directly. I can also see that this task is in progress. It has a high priority. It's very important, and it's assigned to me. It's also due on past due. So let's go ahead and mark this one as complete. Now this view is showing tasks that are assigned to me, but I can also see tasks from flagged emails or private tasks as well if a task is marked as private. And moving on to the My Plans view here, I'm going to see all of my plans by default recent. To search for a plan name, I can utilize the little search bar here. And we can see that when I search, it's not just going to search by the beginning name of the plan, but anywhere where that name might be included in the plan, as you can see here. Now we'll touch on portfolios towards the end if we have time, but we do cover portfolios in depth in our planner training session. And this is an area where we can essentially see multiple plans in a roadmap view, and we can add specific tasks from specific plans into one portfolio. Down here below, I have my pinned plans, as you can see here. And now we're going to go ahead and create a new plan. To create a new plan, we'll select New Plan from the bottom here left. And we're going to see that I have a few options, such as Basic, Premium, and this newest feature, which requires a Copilot license, Plan with Project Manager, which we also will dive into more in our planner training sessions. We also have an area here for project manager templates, which is associated with this plan with project manager feature. And if we scroll down here, we can see basic and premium templates. If I go to see all templates here and scroll down to this project manager section, I can see here that this is a simple plan that I can start with, and it's available in basic. And some of the key benefits, such as organize any plan, large or small, manage your tasks, customize your plan to meet your needs. We can see that for the project management template, I can create this one in basic or premium, and also see some of the elevated benefits that we have here. We also have a template for commercial construction, some software development ones, including ones that have sprint planning. So this supports agile best practices for continuous learning and adjustments. We also have an area for business, HR, miscellaneous, marketing, and customer. As Charlene mentioned, this is an app that Microsoft is investing a lot of R&D in. So luckily for us, this is an app that if you start to utilize, you're going to continuously see new features on it on a regular basis. Now, I'm not going to use a template. I am going to start from scratch, but I wanted to point those templates out for anyone who would like a starting point. We're going to go ahead and select basic plan. And I am going to go ahead and add a group. I'm also going to go ahead and add it to my pinned plan so we can see it over here. So as we can see here, I have my basic plan, and we're going to start highlighting some of the basic versus premium plan features. I'm going to go ahead and drop a link in the chat here. That's a really good Microsoft resource that compares basic versus premium plan features. So you can utilize this link if you're looking to figure out if you want a basic or premium plan. Now, one of the things I do want to highlight, we'll go ahead and start adding some tasks here.
Hey Stella, we do have a quick question in the chat.
Yes.
How do you create a group?
So you can create a group. So let's actually do this. You can add an existing group to your plan here. So this has to be existing. But if I create a new one without a group, it's going to give me the option to create that group for that later. So we'll create this here. We'll manage it from here, and we'll see that I can add a group by going to share here, and I can create a group. So my new group name would be this. If I want to change the group name, I can change this, maybe group at the end. I can determine if it's a private or a public group, and I can go ahead and start adding members to it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and create a group for this plan. So nice job, you created a group. So we're going to see details. I can see that this group was created, and I can see the members in it here. Now I'm going to go ahead and start adding some tasks. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that oddly enough, in a basic plan, our task line limits, so the number of tasks that we have, is 9,000. Meanwhile, in a premium plan, it's currently 1,000, and coming soon, it'll be 1,500 coming soon. When we get to our schedule view, we're also going to see that that is a basic plan feature that is not supported in premium. So after adding the titles for my tasks here, I can delete a task by clicking the ellipses and saying delete selected task. I cannot drag and drop my tasks in different orders, which we're going to see that we can do in our premium plan. I can go ahead and start adding some assignments, and it's going to automatically give me anyone I've added to the group, but I can also search for anyone who's not in the group as well, who's in my AD. So right here, I see Charlene and she's not a member. So when I add her to this task, Planner is going to prompt me if I want to assign and add her to the group or just assign her. I'm going to assign and add her to the group. So we can see here she's assigned to this task. Assign this one to myself. Assign this one to Aaron. To myself. To Charlene. We'll go ahead and set some start dates for these tasks. Now we're going to see that the basic plan doesn't support dependencies. So in our premium plan, we're going to see that I'm able to utilize dependencies, and it's going to I can use those dependencies to automatically set my start and finish dates for my tasks. We can see that we automatically get one bucket called the to-do. But in our bucket view here, I can add an additional bucket. I can drag and drop tasks into this to automatically assign them to that bucket. And in my grid view, I can see those tasks have been assigned in that bucket. Now I can manage the progress for these tasks for my team members and for myself from this progress column here. But as I mentioned at the beginning, we can also see that these team members are going to see these tasks in their My Tasks view. And on the day they're due, they'll see them in My Day, where they can manage progress from those areas as well. So they actually don't need to come into the plan to manage their progress. They can do so directly from that My Tasks, My Day, only requiring a Microsoft 365 license. And to Deborah's point, yes, dependencies do enable a critical path-like capability. So we can see here that on the basic plan, we are going to have 8 columns or fields for our tasks, and that is the limit. We can see here we have priority, so I can set it as urgent, important, medium, or low. By default, all of them are set to medium. Let's go ahead and make this one important. And I can add some labels as well. So I have all of these colors, and if I want to go ahead and add a label, I can then rename this label. And now I can add that same label to my other columns as well. On this view, we're going to see here that we have the filters as well. So I can filter this view by due date. So once again, ones that are due today, tomorrow, next week, anything due in the future, anything that's late. Keep in mind, if I use a filter here, so for example, I say anything that's due next week, when I move from view to view, so from grid to board, schedule, and so on, that filter is going to stick. So it doesn't reset when you switch from view to view. So I'm going to want to get rid of this filter. I can also filter by priority, progress, labels, bucket, and assignment. So essentially, we're seeing that anything we have a column for, we can filter by, which we'll see similarly on the premium plan as well.
Hey, Stella,
Yes.
can you just show how you added that labels column one more time?
Yes. So by default, it was already here.
Okay.
I didn't have to add this column. So when you get a basic plan, you automatically have these columns. We can actually not rearrange the order of them, and we cannot add new fields as well. In a basic plan, we cannot make subtasks, but we'll see in a premium plan we can. Is there a way to manage who can view versus create edit tasks? Yes, so you have to be the plan owner in order to create tasks in here, and the people who can manage them are the people who are assigned to it. So I own this plan, it's a private plan, so only the people assigned to their tasks, they can only update progress on the tasks that they're assigned. That is interesting, Nathan, that you're not seeing that labels column. Erin, let's make a note of that to look into that.
I will.
I don't believe that that column labels is license specific. And if you're creating a basic plan, I'm assuming you have at least a plan 1. So we'll look into that further for you, Nathan. And moving to our board view here, as we saw, we can create a new bucket, which we did here. We can rename, delete, or move it back and forth. So to move this to the left, for example, I can move it to the left this way. We're going to see that on the premium plan, I can actually set a background color for my boards, which we can't do here. Now let's take a look at our schedule view. Oddly enough, this schedule view here is something that's only supported in the basic plan. And we actually can take a task and make it a recurring task. So something that repeats on a daily, weekday, weekly, monthly, yearly, or a custom setting. Recurring tasks are not supported in a premium plan at this time. So we're going to see here at the end, or after we finish with our basic plan, we're going to convert it to a premium plan. However, if in our basic plan we have recurring tasks, when we try to convert our basic plan to a premium, it's going to fail to do so. So instead of a direct conversion, it's going to simply make a copy of the plan. So if that's your case, you'll want to make sure that you go back to your original plan, the basic one, and delete that one so you don't have 2 working versions of the same schedule. So as you can see here, we can make a task recurring by clicking on the task and saying, I want this to recur on a daily, weekday, weekly, monthly, yearly feature, as you can see here. Now I'm not going to do that because I want a direct conversion, but this is how you would make a recurring task. We can see here we have a filter to hide future recurring tasks, which we don't have on our schedule. And we can see here on the right, I can see all the tasks in my bucket as well. I can group by bucket or assign to, by progress, labels, due date, or priority. In our charts view here, we're going to have a nice little overview. It's going to look similar in pretty similar in the premium plan. Here I can see I have 5 tasks left. Let's go ahead and update the progress on some of these. We can see how many tasks I have in progress, not started. By bucket, how many I have in the to-do versus the critical tasks. And out of those 2 I have in the critical tasks, both are not started. Let's mark this one in progress. And then we can see in our charts view here that I have 2, one's in progress, 1 is not started, 2 tasks. Here I can see by priority. And we can see here as well, the in progress are going to be in blue, not started are going to be in gray. And let's actually go back and mark one as completed so we can see how that appears. Completed appears in green, as you can see here. Down below, we can see that the members, how many are assigned. So Charlene is assigned 2 tasks, 1 of which is completed and 1 of which is in progress. I have 2 tasks, both are in progress, and Erin has 1 which is in progress. On the right area here, we can see it's automatically grouping by bucket, but once again, I can group by assigned to, progress, due date, labels, or priority.
Hey, Stella,
Yes.
there's another question in the chat. Can you share these reports or charts?
So unfortunately, right now, these are not exportable. The best you could do is basically print the screen or take a screenshot of these and share it that way. Hopefully this is a feature that is coming as a way to export these reports. But currently you'd have to give that team member access to your plan, and they would need the appropriate license to come in here and view this. Now that we've created a basic plan and gone through the basic views, we can see here, we see timeline, but it has this little diamond here, which indicates it's a premium feature. So now at this point, we're going to convert our plan to a premium plan, and we can do that simply by trying to access this premium feature. To convert to a premium plan, you are going to need that Plan 3 license. And we can see here, you can change this plan to a premium plan and have access to features like timeline, people, and goals. That link that I dropped in the chat earlier in the webinar is this same one if I click here. So we can see here the key features. One of the ones that we outlined earlier is that the basic plan has a 9,000 task limit and the premium plan has 1,000, 1,500 coming soon. So I'm going to say yes, convert now, and it's going to go ahead and convert my plan. So your plan was converted to premium. We're going to see it update in the background. We're going to see our new views. I'm going to go ahead and close this. So in the premium plan, we're going to have 17 columns that are Microsoft columns. By default here, it's going to add a couple of them, as you can see here. And we can see here that I can add additional columns such as effort, effort completed, effort remaining, and depends on. So there's that dependency that we were talking about earlier. I also mentioned earlier in the basic plan, you could not drag and drop tasks into different orders, which we can do here. And we can also see here as well that I'm going to have more granular control. So instead of just doing in progress, I can put a specific percent complete that's going to go with my plan. So let's go ahead and look at our effort columns. So for this one task for Charlene, it's assigned from 2/6 to 2/10, and it has a total effort of 24 hours. I can update the progress by either using this effort completed. So I can say I've completed 12 hours here, and it's going to update that percent complete column. Or I can simply utilize the percent complete column here. Now, someone asked about subtasks, which are possible here. So by accessing that, we're going to click the ellipses here and say, make this a subtask. We can highlight multiple tasks as well, and I can make all of these a subtask together. When I add a new task underneath, we're going to see that it's automatically going to make this a subtask as well. But I can change that by saying promote subtask here. And now it's not part of this one. So I can make one tier below, and I can make this a subtask now. So now I have a new, what we call summary task here. If a plan is premium, does every member of that plan need a premium license? Not to manage the progress on their own tasks. They only need a Microsoft 365 license for those tasks to appear in their My Tasks area, where they can manage their progress directly from there. But in order to go into the plan and actually make edits to the plan from this view here, they would need that Plan 1 license. What if you have external team members, collaborators? How does that affect licenses? So to even have external team members, collaborators, they would need a guest account in your AD in order for you to be able to assign them tasks or share it with them. And as far as licensing, they would need whatever licensing anyone else would need to either access the plan. So to access the plan, they would need a Plan 1, but to manage their tasks from the My Tasks area, they would just need that Microsoft 365 license. Nathan, it is very possible since you're GCC that you don't have that yet. Unfortunately, GCC gets updates about 6 to 8 months after the general environments, unfortunately. And I think I'm up to date on all the questions so far. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make this subtask as well. So we have our main task and then our summary tasks. And as we can see here, it's going to roll up our duration and our percent complete as well, based on all the plans underneath here. I'm going to go ahead and assign this task to myself. And now let's go ahead and use our depends on column. So I'm going to add some new tasks. You can see it's automatically making them part of this here. And I'm going to say that this one here is going to depend on task 5, which is going to set my start date to start immediately here. Now it automatically picked the finish to start dependency, but Premium Plan does support advanced dependencies. So if I want to utilize the advanced dependencies in the depends on column, I'm going to want to hover over this little arrow here. And I'm going to see that by default, it picks finish to start, meaning this task can only start when task 7 finishes. So we can see here, task 8 can only start once task 7 finishes. We have advanced dependencies such as finish to finish. And if I select it, we can see here, task 8 can only finish once task 7 finishes. Start to start, task 8 can only start once task 7 starts. And then task start to finish here as well. I can also add a lag by time or a lead by. So if I want to lag by a couple of days, I can say 3 days and we can see my little view updates. So it says task 8 can only start 3 days after task 7 finishes. So I'm going to go ahead and add this here and it's going to populate that date for me. I'm going to go ahead and hide this priority column just so we can see our other ones better. And I'm going to continue adding dependencies to get those dates populated for me. Now, if I drag this into a different order, we're going to see that dependency automatically changes on its own. So now this one is dependent on 9, and this one's still dependent on 8. So it's going to make it dependent on whatever the one was right before it. Now we can see that when I start assigning resources to tasks, it's going to populate these based on the duration. So this duration is 1 day. Let's go ahead and change this to 2 days. So we can see that when I assign this task to Aaron, it's going to give it by default 16 hours. So 8 hours per day. If I increase the duration of this task, it'll increase those effort hours as well to 24 hours and so on. So the good thing about utilizing subtasks is you have this roll up here. So I can see for my total schedule, it starts on 2/11 with the last date in my schedule ending on 3/1. I can also see that my total schedule is 19 days and 18% of it is complete based on these tasks. So this here will update as I continue to update the progress on tasks, as you can see here. So now it's 23% and so on. I'm gonna go ahead and assign these tasks. Now, something really cool that I want to note here is this quick look column. What's the purpose? What does it serve? We can see here there's a little note. So there's a little note for this here. So I can say view note. I'm sorry, this indicates there's a label. So I can add a note here. I can enter. So I have quite a lot of room here to add information. I also have a checklist column. So I can say item 1, item 2, item 3. And we can see here that in my quick look column, it's going to show me I have 0 out of 3 complete. As I check these, we're going to see that's going to update. And this that we're seeing here is called task details. To access the task details for a task, I can simply select something from the quick look column, or to add something, I can say open details over the task here. So we can see everything essentially about this task, such as dependencies. I can change the dependency either to an advanced dependency or add a lag by time. I can add an additional dependency as well. And I can add an attachment here as well. If I do add an attachment, it's going to add a little pay-per-click column in my quick look column view. I can also connect to a goal, which we'll cover when we get to that goals area. Now, let's say that I have assigned this task to Aaron, and I know that it was initially 24 hours, but I noticed that this task has increased. We can actually track the history of a task from this quick look area as well. In the top right, we're going to see this open task history, and it's going to show us who did it, when it was done, and what the event was. So we can see here several minutes ago, I added depends on task 1. I edited the duration of the task. I assigned it to Aaron, and we can see here that the duration was edited from 3 days to 2 days as well. I'm sorry, from 2 days to 3 days as well. So it goes this way. So whatever is on the top is the most recent change. So from 1 day to 2 days, from 2 days to 3 days. So this tracks every single action on there, including a checklist item. So if I add some items here, and then I mark one as complete, we're also going to see that information detailed here in our task history. So we can see when it was added and the time it was completed as well. And this indicates who made that change. So if you do have people accessing your schedule, you can see who's making changes to your tasks. Are there alternative views to adding, creating tasks, i.e. other than this list view? So we have multiple views here, and we can create new tasks from any of these, and it's going to add them to the bottom of our list. So I can add a new task directly in here, and it's going to add it in the to-do column. So I can add this task. What we do know about this task is that it's in the to-do bucket, but we don't know what it depends on, who it's assigned to, start date or finish date. So if we add it from that view, we need to come back here and add a start date and this information, such as depends on, we can automatically do it on, and then I can do my effort by simply assigning it to someone. So essentially in any view here, you're going to be able to add a new task. So we already looked at our board view, which is going to be similar to basic, but as I mentioned before, we can add some nice little colors here. So we have the ability to add a background. So here I can make this pink, I can make this red. And I can make this blue. I can also drag and drop it rather than having to click the ellipses and say move to the right or the left, which I can also do here, but we have that nice functionality of just being able to drag and drop them in a different order as well. Same concept here. I can take these tasks that are automatically in to-do and drop them into my new bucket or my critical tasks bucket to reassign them as well. Now, something else I want to mention is I mentioned that in the premium, you're going to have 17 Microsoft columns, but we also have the ability to add up to 15 custom fields. We can do that by selecting add column, new field, and it can be a text, date, number, yes, no, or choice. Let's go ahead and do a choice. I can also assign colors to my choices. So I'll make yes, green, no, red, and not applicable gray. Upon adding that here, it's going to automatically add it, and I can manage this per task. So as I mentioned before, you can create up to 15 of these. So if you create, let's say 15 and you need a 16th, you actually can come back and I can select this and say edit, and I can delete this field. And then it's going to give me the ability to create an additional one. If I hit my limit, I need to go back and figure out when to delete. I can also edit this by adding an additional choice or changing the name of the field as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into my views. I do want to mention that there is this new feature called baselines. So you can create a baseline here. And I can look at my baseline details. So right now my schedule is set to finish on 3/2. Let's say I change this and we have a delay, it's on 12. It's going to tell me that my schedule is 10 days behind. I'm going to go ahead and drop a link in the chat. And this is a link that you can utilize to sign up for newsletters from Microsoft for new features, new enhancements to Microsoft Planner. Their latest newsletter is going to go into this baselines feature in greater detail. And it's going to talk about how I can compare all my tasks here. So we can see here as these tasks change, my baseline start, my baseline finish, how that's going to influence these dates here. I can also see my critical path ones as well. And we're going to see that we can see that on the timeline view too. Note that when you say compare all tasks, as you saw here, it does take a minute for those dates to actually populate here. I can delete my baseline here and set a new one as at any point as well. Once again, I have filters here, but I have way more options since in the premium plan, I have more areas as well. And I even can filter by my custom columns. So if I want to say all tasks that are critical, yes, I can see that here as well. So any custom field that we add, we can filter by as well. We have a really neat feature here called conditional coloring. So I can do this for essentially any field except for our custom task ones, as you can see here. But I can say, for example, if task name contains task, I would like to see it in pink. I can say if it's assigned to equals Charlene, I want to see it in yellow. And I can say if the effort is less than or equal to 8 hours, I want to see it in blue. As you can see here, we have many more options such as dependencies, finish, assigned to, priority, bucket as well. So I'm going to save this and it's going to populate that there. So my assigned to here is in yellow. I said anything with task, show me in pink. And then I said effort, highlight anything that's equal to an 8 here. So we already covered our board view here. So to add a new bucket, I can also add filter by anything here as well. And I can group by bucket, assigned to, progress, finish date, labels, priority, sprint, or goals. We can utilize that sprint for agile projects here. So I can drag and drop into this specific sprint. I can create a new sprint too. As you know, our sprint dates cannot overlap. So I would need to make sure that this is starting after and I can drag and drop into sprint as well. So question, can you make plan templates that can be reused again like the presets? That's a great question. So what we can do is we can actually copy tasks from one plan into another. In Microsoft's full planner for the web, it does utilize project templates based on project types. So if you want to reach out to Charlene, she can give you a preview of that feature that we have in our full PPM 360 accelerator. How do you delete a plan? So for premium plan, you're going to want to select the plan name. And up from here, you're going to select delete plan. In a basic plan, as we can see here, that delete plan is going to be at the bottom. So still click on the plan name, but delete this plan will be at the bottom. I understand this plan is going to be permanently deleted. Once deleted, it cannot be recovered. That's a great question, Robert. If you want to reach out to Charlene, we can schedule a time to go into that in more detail. I will say that for agile projects, Microsoft is trying to improve the features to use Planner for agile projects, but right now that board and separating it into sprints is really going to be your best view. But it seems like you're using ADO as our DevOps right now, so we can definitely have a meeting about integrating with that, and that once again could be in our PPM 360 feature. From our timeline view here, I can see all my tasks in the order and what they're assigned. I can actually increase the duration of my tasks directly from this view by dragging and dropping it like this. I can also create dependencies by dragging and dropping this little thing here. So I'm making it depend on this one. As we can see here, these are existing dependencies, which I can also change as well. And once again, increase. And on this timeline view, I'm going to have show critical path here. So I can see all the ones that have dependencies here outlined in red. I can also use the go-to date to go to a specific date in my schedule, such as March 3rd, and it will take the beginning of my timeline view to that date. My charts are going to look a little similar to how it looked in basic, but instead of effort being horizontally, it's going to be vertically, as you can see here. Same concept. In progress is shown in blue, completed is shown in green, and we can see here that it's by buckets and effort per person as well. Once again, this is not currently exportable at this time, but hopefully it will be in the near future. Once again, I would recommend staying up to date with these enhancements by signing up for that newsletter. In our people view, it's going to look similar to the bucket view, but instead we're dragging and dropping tasks to reassign to people. So if I want to, we can see here critical tasks to do and new bucket. I can also see here completed tasks will be shown here below. In my view options, I can say show me by number of tasks or by hours, which is pretty neat. Here it's currently hiding completed tasks from this information, but if I want to see completed tasks, I can see that here as well. Compact mode is currently turned on, so it's only showing me the task name. But if I want to turn that off, I can see more information, such as if there's, labels, if there's notes, the date, duration, percent complete, the labels here, as you can see, bucket. So we want to turn, by default, this people view has both of these enabled. So if you want to see more information, you're going to want to turn these off. So once again, this here I can see by hours or by number of tasks. I can't add a new person directly here unless I add a new task. And I open this here, I can assign it to someone new. I can either assign and add her to the group or just assign. So I'm going to go ahead and assign her and add her so she has access. And then she pops up here. So I can add a task automatically assigned to Mia here by saying adding the task. And we know that for sure it's assigned to Mia. But once again, we're going to want to set that start and finish date, which we can do directly from here. Or I can do it once again by adding a dependency on it. We can also see task history from this view as well, as you can see here. Or I can delete the task or copy link to this task too. Now, this goals view is something that Microsoft is very proud of that they've released recently. You may have a way to utilize this. Essentially, we can add a new goal such as complete task under budget, or maybe complete task before deadline. Now that we have our goals created, once again, we can add new tasks. And what we know about the new task is that it will automatically be assigned to this goal. But once again, from our grid view here, we're actually going to want to go and give it things like assignments, start date, dependencies, and so on. We can see here, I can still see my baseline view. So that stays even as you move from view to view. To hide that, we'll go hide baseline here. Now, if we scroll over to the right and we add our goals column here, we're going to see this task has a goal. And I can, now that I've created my goals, I can start assigning this goal to other tasks. And then in our goals view, we can see those tasks will appear. Once again, I can manage the progress just by selecting this here. We're going to see by default, for some reason on the goals, it's only going to choose to show assign to, priority, and finish for these. I can see the 3 tasks in my schedule here, so I can add more goals directly from here as well. Now, the assignments view is perhaps one of my favorite. And to best demonstrate this one, I'm actually going to come in and assign a task to multiple people. Now, this task here that I'm assigned is 16 hours, 2 days, 8 hours per day per person. I'm going to go ahead and add an additional person to this task, and let's see, it's going to increase it. If I add an additional person, it's going to continue to increase that. Now, in our assignments view, this is going to resemble, for those of you who are familiar with Project Online, the resource usage view. So I can group by resource here, group by task here, and I can go to that task that has 3 people assigned. We can see that it gave me 16 hours, but when I added Charlene and Aaron, it only gave them 8 hours, and we can see here on the day as well. Now let's say that I don't want them to complete this all 8 hours on one day. I want Charlene to do 4 hours this day and 4 hours this day. I can edit that directly from this view. I can also extend the date of these tasks for a specific person, as you can see here, but this gets a little tricky. If there's a dependency, it might give you an error. So you can see for Charlene, it's going to go from 2/11 to 2/13, but for Aaron and I, our dates are only on these 2 days. I can also see a sum of the hours here per day, and I can see this by daily view, weekly. It's fighting with me right now, but typically we can put this into weekly, monthly, or yearly view as well. Now we only have 3 minutes left. Sorry for going a little over. I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to Charlene or Aaron.
Thank you, Stella. Does anyone have any other questions? I know we added a bunch of the chat, but was there anything else that anyone wanted to see before we finish up?
Juana did ask to see more about the project manager feature. In last week's webinar, Mia did a nice preview of that. So Aaron or Charlene, if we can send Juana a link to that webinar, that would be great.
Yes, yeah, I can definitely send you a link to that, Juana. And then anyone else that had specific questions that weren't shown today, I'll follow up with you guys after this and get something scheduled that's more specific to your needs. And then I'll also be sending out the recording for everyone. If there's no more questions, I think Aaron's going to drop a survey in the chat if anyone has time to do that. But besides that, thank you everyone for joining.